This is the ultimate Sunday roast. Probably my favourite meal on the entire planet. Found all over England, the most amazing roast beef. Oh man. Giant Yorkshire puddings. I'll eat these all day. Perfect roasted potatoes. I'm so happy with these. Simple veg, amazing horseradish cream, perfect gravy. I'm going to show you how to make the ultimate classic Sunday roast with one oven, and it's going to be really easy. These are all of the elements that you have to make it a real Sunday roast. You have to have roast beef cooked rare, potatoes, they have to be crispy, vegetables, keep them simple. Yorkshire puddings, make sure they're big and giant and hollow and crispy and not soggy. Otherwise, they're just not a Yorkshire pudding. You've got a beautiful gravy, a little horseradish cream, a cold pint of beer, and this is just how it is. If we're looking about how long this is going to take from start to finish, I'm going to say no more than 3 hours, and that's on the long side, you know. Looking at the game plan of how to make the classic Sunday roast at home, it can look a little bit overwhelming. Trying to get all that to happen at once is a little challenging, especially if you've only got one oven. So the way I would suggest doing this is breaking it down into different components. Start with your Yorkshire puddings. We are going to cook those, get those all nice and crispy and hollowed out, set those aside, leave them on a wire rack. After that, you can start looking at your beef, getting that ready to go in the oven. You've got your potatoes, you want to parboil them. Once they're parboiled, have the fat getting hot in the oven so the beef is ready to go in at the same time. You can take the potatoes out once they're crispy, leave those aside. You know, they're going to be like 90% done. Blanch your carrots and blanch off your cabbage, toss them in some melted butter at the end, and then warm those up at the last couple of minutes. You've got all of the lovely burnt, charred carrots and onions underneath the beef, and you're just gonna go in with your flour and your beef stock and make a gravy. Horseradish cream, classic accompaniment to go with roast beef. Easiest thing in the world to make. Then it's a matter of just assembling after that. Fantastic way to go about it rather than kind of rushing in, trying to do everything all at once. So we're gonna get to preparing the beef. This is the bottom round, which would be like the biceps femoris, or the outside of the beef leg, classically used for roast beef. This is also gonna have a nice fat cap on it, which I'm gonna lightly score before I grind my fennel, black pepper and salt. Get a nice grind. The spices are gonna get into the meat, and I'm gonna leave this go overnight. I prefer what it does to the meat. It's gonna impart flavor, but it's gonna take out some moisture from the meat as well, rubbing it around. This is gonna sit in the refrigerator overnight now before we roast it off for the classic Sunday roast. We're gonna start off making some beautiful Yorkshire puddings. Got all of my lovely ingredients here: egg, flour, milk, salt, and a tiny bit of water. Gonna just start going ahead and cracking these eggs into the bowl. 4 eggs. Gonna give them a good little whisk in here. Basically combine the whites and the yolks. Got my little sieve here, my flour, nice generous pinch of salt. Just gonna sieve this through. This is where we just basically beat the flour and the eggs together, trying to get it into a little paste. And I'm gonna thin that paste out now with just a little milk to start with. You can see it's quite thick still, going in. Just a little bit of water in here, cold water, will really help thin the batter out. You'll see with the ones we make later how it really helps to puff them up. Here's our lovely batter done. We're not looking for like anything too fat and heavy here, so nice and runny. Pour this into our little container here, leave it chill for at least 12 hours. A small step but important step is getting the muffin tin filled up with fat. We always use beef fat, which is very traditional. This is rendered from the kidney fat, which has got the lowest amount of moisture in it. We're going to be cooking these at around 430 degrees, so if you want to use an olive oil, it's not going to be great for doing this. And don't use butter either, otherwise it will burn. So simply got my molds here. It's very, very important that you heat these up. The tin should be hot too. So if you also just try and warm up the fat on a stovetop and pour it into here, and this is cold, it's also gonna change the outcome of the pudding. So fat into the mold, all of this stuff should be 430 degrees. So our oven is already at 430 in here. Just gonna put this guy in for a good 10 minutes or so, and I'm going to temp it as well. And we're getting right up into the 400 degrees here, which is what we want. So time is of the essence when you're doing these. So want to make sure we're pulling this out. Be careful, it's super hot fat. So you see that sizzle? That's what I'm looking for. sizzle. This is really important that if you don't do it at this temperature, it's going to have a really soggy batter going on. So straight back in the oven here, and they're going to start puffing up real quick. They're going to be in here for 25-ish minutes. After 25 minutes, when they're nice and high, we'll drop the oven to about 325, and that's going to just essentially slow cook the rest of the moisture in the Yorkshire puddings, giving you that really crisp batter that will not sink after coming out of the oven straight away. The puddings have puffed up 2-3 times as high as they are meant to. If I'm looking at these, we're getting close to where I want to go, but there's still some moisture in the bottom in here. If you don't cook that out by dropping the oven temperature down, you're going to end up with all of these like sinking down quite a lot. So I'm just literally going to drop this to 325, and we're going to go for about another 5-10 minutes on here, and then we'll come back, and that's going to give us the pudding that is not going to sink. Puddings have been drying out now for about 10 minutes. Very, very hot. These are dry but crispy. Tons of texture in here. This to me is the perfect Yorkshire pudding here. One of the things I love about Yorkshire puddings is you're not going to get them all to be exactly the same. It's like practically impossible. You know, this one, it's a little bit funky. It's got some character to it. You know, it's going to taste great. We're going to eat that. Super happy with the way these turned out. I'm now just going to place them on a little wire rack over here to leave the steam to continue to come out. Really, really key things to be looking at here is parboiling the potatoes, so you're getting a little fluffy edge on them. We want hot fat in a pan, which is going to be just like the Yorkshire puddings, making sure the fat is sizzling and hot, and the water is going to be boiling when we put our potatoes in. This is a russet potato. Classically in England, my favourite potato would be a King Edward. This is about as close as we can get to that. These are the sort of sizes I'm looking to get, like this. Now I've got my water over here, it's already boiling. Got my salt. I want to be generous with the amount of salt I'm putting in. What I want to do is make sure the potatoes are not fully cooked. I'm not trying to have a mashed potato here. I want them to be like 50% cooked. That way we can finish the cooking in the oven, and it's going to give us that ultra crispy roast potato. The texture on these potatoes, they're still pretty hard, but they're starting to break down around the edge. If I'm putting a knife in, it's only cooked 25-30% of the way in. But this is what I'm looking for here. So I'm going to transfer these over into a little bowl over here. I'm going to ruffle them up and let them steam dry. And it's creating like a little mash on the outside. These little edges here are going to be what's going to create the really crispness of the potato. Season away here. And now these are going to like steam off for a few minutes now, just to let that moisture come out. Getting ready to actually roast the beef now. Thinking about all the things that happen in here. I've got my mirepoix, very, very roughly chopped up celery, carrots, onions, fresh thyme, rosemary, a big bulb of garlic. I'm going to literally put all of this into the pan over here. I'm not worrying about skins or anything. It's all going to add to the flavour of the gravy. It's got a little oil here, a little olive oil. You could use beef fat. Olive oil is kind of nice with the vegetables. Some salt, season the vegetables up, season everything. Give it a little mix around here. Wire rack. And this is going to just be nice and snug in here, just like this. So from here, this is going to roast at 425, 430 for about 40 minutes. I want to see this fat get really crisp and golden, and then all the vegetables are going to start to steam underneath all of this. So yeah, this is ready for roasting. We've got our lovely rendered beef fat here. I'm going to be very generous with what's going into this pan. I want to make sure there's enough fat that's going to coat all of the potatoes. So now I'm just going to simply take this over to the oven and start getting it hot, and we'll leave that go 5-10 minutes. Not looking for warm oil, we're looking for smoking hot fat. Potatoes now, they're going to sizzle, they're going to start to shallow fry as we go in. Stand back. Important now to make sure the potatoes are tossed in all of the fat. Coat all the sides of the potato in fat. I can already see the little chunks of the overcooked potato on the outside getting crispy. This is key to getting good potatoes. I'm not adding any herbs, I'm not adding anything in here at the moment. No garlic, no anything, just potatoes. We've got our potatoes ready. We have our beef ready. These are going to go in the oven, and we'll get them cooking. All right, so we'll give it 40 minutes and we'll check it. Potatoes coming out. So already starting to get that sizzle going, and this is what we're looking for. Crispy, crispy. These will go back in for another 30 minutes or so. Back into the oven with these guys. Our beef gained the color I'm looking for. Our internal temp of the center of the beef is about 73, 74 degrees, which is what I'm looking for. We'll come back, check it, and the potatoes will be done real soon. We'll pull those out, they can rest. This can continue to cook if needed, and we'll get going on the rest of it. I am gonna start dropping the temperature on these now because we've gained the initial color that we're looking for. So potatoes are gonna come out first, and you can see, this is what I'm talking about. At this point, I wanna go in with rosemary, and it's gonna sizzle, and just toss these around again. They're almost done, but we wanna make sure the potatoes are cooked in the middle. We wanna develop flavor from slow roasting. Let the potatoes absorb that beautiful beef fat and the flavor of the rosemary. Okay, so I'm gonna drop the temp of the oven, 325-ish. Okay, potatoes have been in the oven at the lower temperature for about 10, 15 minutes. Pull these guys out and transfer them now from this hot beef fat into our finishing tray. So it's gonna bring these over. It looks like a scallop. I mean, look at that potato. That's like the perfect roast potato. I'm so happy with these. Vegetables for our Sunday roast. You have to have vegetables. A little bit of health going on, you know. So I've got cabbage, carrots. These are just in season here at the moment, and I love Savoy cabbage. Just gonna cut this into two, take out the core. I want some chunks. I want pieces that you can see and taste. This is a humble dish with humble beginnings. Over here, I have carrots. These have just been washed. I don't bother peeling them. They're absolutely nothing wrong with the skin. Doesn't really change anything. So water, salt going in, be nice and generous. Nothing fancy here. I'll test them in 10 minutes. They should be pretty close. Okay, so carrots have been cooking for about 10 minutes now. What I'm looking for is like a carrot that is fully cooked. I'm not looking for these al dente carrots. I want them to be roughed up, delicious like this. I'm now going to cool these down and they'll get finished at the end. While I have my water rolling over here, this is one of the beautiful things about Savoy cabbage. You can see it changing color already. It's going to a nice bright green. I'm going to put the lid on for a minute, strain it into our nice bowl here. I'm going to chill this down, spread it out on something thin so it's not overcooking. This is going to let the steam come off. It's going to stop it from overcooking. Carrots I'm happy to overcook. Cabbage I want to have some texture with. Our beef has been roasting away, and I'll pull this guy out and just notice color, temperature. Let's have a little look. So coming in right around 100-ish degrees here. So as this cooks, it's going to continue to come up by about another 20 degrees, and the middle of it is nice and rare, 110 degrees, which is exactly what we're looking for. So I'm going to bring this guy over. I've got a resting rack over here. I'm just going to literally pick up our beef, drop it over here. And this is going to rest for a good rule that I normally follow is rest it for about half the amount of time you cooked it for. So this is going to need 30, 40 minutes at least to rest. Let all those juices become reabsorb into the meat. In this lovely pot here, I have all of the roasting juices and all the caramelized veg. Typically, I would put this on the top of the stove and finish it on the gas burner or on the electric burner. But because we're working with these lovely devices here, I'm just going to transfer it into here, and we'll make the gravy in this pot. It's gonna go straight in with all of this charred veg. First thing I'm gonna do when making a gravy is I wanna add flour to it. This is gonna coat all of the vegetables, and when we add our stock, it's gonna create a thicker sauce. But first I'm gonna go in with a little fresh herbs in here. Then I'm gonna take my beef stock, cook it for a few minutes, bring this up to a simmer. Nice and boiling here now. I've got Worcester sauce here. So I'm gonna go in, and noticing that the color of the gravy is changing already. It can take the rest of this, or a bit more. And I've got sherry vinegar here. You know, this is just literally bringing flavors together. So if you notice the color is changing already into gravy. And I'm gonna turn this guy down a little now, and we're gonna pass it through a sieve into a saucepan over here. And then we just wanna extract all of the flavors from the vegetables. And I've reserved some of the fresh herbs over there because I want some of that to go in at the end. The gravy's thickening up. This is pretty much done now. It's exactly the consistency I'm looking for. And yeah, it's killer, absolutely killer. Horseradish cream, a little classic accompaniment to go with roast beef. Easiest thing in the world to make. Just microplane horseradish, heavy cream, whipping cream, mustard, Dijon. Beat these together. And this is just a classic little accompaniment to go on the side of roast beef. Got a little container, a little beautiful little pot to put it in. And that's it, easy as that. All of the individual components are done. Now the really easy part is just literally warming it all up for like 5-10 minutes in the oven. And again, look, just to make life easy, just put these on top. You don't need to be overthinking any of this. We're just reheating. For the cabbage, just so it doesn't get crispy, the oven's low enough anyway, but just gonna put a little piece of parchment on top, and I'm gonna put my carrots on here, warm these guys through, and we'll set that for 10 minutes or so. We'll take a look. Okay, so it's nice and warm now. All I'm gonna do to finish this is put a generous amount of butter in here, and we'll just pour the hot cabbage in on the butter. And then the steam off the cabbage, the remaining moisture in there, gonna melt the butter. I love white pepper, it's very English. So generous white pepper, fresh parsley, generous sea salt, and we'll just keep mixing. It's just about maximizing the flavors with every little step here. Let's get into our nice serving bowl here. In with the carrots, and I don't care if these kind of break up a bit. In with some more butter in here, more parsley, more salt. Just tossing them in the melted butter. There we go. We are ready to finish our perfect roast dinner here. Got our beautiful beef. Gonna go grab the potatoes and the Yorkshire puddings. Looking good. We're gonna start with cutting this beautiful beef right down the middle. In we go. Let's see, perfectly cooked through here. This is exactly how I want the roast beef to be. I'm gonna cut some nice thin slices here. Really sharp knife is super helpful. For my perfect plate, I want to take some of this crispy stuff down here and just show you the different textures of how this meat is. And like, if you just look at the difference in textures, doneness over here. I'm gonna look at my gravy over here. So just gonna transfer it into our little gravy pot. You never really have enough gravy. I'm gonna take some of these beautiful Yorkshire puddings. Gonna put one right in the middle of the plate. Gonna grab some beautiful roast potatoes. Gonna grab a nice carrot here. I'm gonna get some of this beautiful buttery cabbage. Really nice to have all this stuff on the side because you can always come back for more. Couple of small little things left to do. Take a nice chunk of butter, put that on top of the potatoes for sure so it starts to melt. We want our horseradish sauce next to the beef. For me, gravy always has to go into the Yorkshire pudding. Some nice crunchy salt all over the top. We're all ready to serve up here. Sasha, come on over and I'll make you a little plate. For me, you gotta start with this.
This is my favorite part. To me, this is like stuffing at Thanksgiving. It's like the best part.
But look, when you get them hollow like that, that is the bite right there.
That gravy is really nice. I like the acidity in it.
Yep, potatoes. I want to show you what these look like on the inside too. Crisp outer exterior. I don't like beautiful mash in the middle, you know. This horseradish sauce is spicy, so, oh man.
I love that.
It's so good, right?
So good, and sliced thin like that, I mean, it really has that roast beef vibe. The cabbage is awesome. I think that's been my complaint sometimes is like, kind of like Thanksgiving where you end up with sort of a plate of mush. With the Yorkies taken to that crispiness, and then the cabbage, you have texture on there. And the beef is so good. Ultimate Sunday roast, thank you so much. This is perfect. This is everything that I want.
Yeah.
So we're just gonna polish this off, the two of us.
Done.
Yeah, cool.
Subscribe to our channel and visit chefsteps.com for more tips, recipes, guides, and tools to help you level up in the kitchen.